Hello everyone, Eric here from Iowa Robot Fighting. We are just back after our big fight up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Big shout out to Scott and Alex who put that on. It was excellent to go up and fight everyone at the Twin City Terror. They even were nice enough to put together little participation tokens here. The guys who actually won, however, luckily, because I made a bad joke while I was up there, saying I didn't want a participation award, and lo and behold, they actually handed us out participation awards. They actually handed out full-on trophies to the winners, which was awesome. They looked really great. Everyone who won really deserved them, and we'll dive straight in. This video this time is going to be all about the fights uncut, other than, you know, cutting out the setup and cutting out essentially the judging of the fights. Next week, I will be going through our breakdown of what we believe happened, where we can improve, and go from there. So let's dive straight into it, shall we? So first up, you can see the arena setup that we had. It was a really great setup. They originally had it set up for fairy weight and for ant weight, the 150 gram for fairy and 1 pound for ant. But each one was supposed to be for fairy, 2 was supposed to be for ant. But we ended up intermixing. They were the same essential battle box for all of them. And all in all, it went off really well. They had a bunch of help. All of them did really great. I'm sure some of them thought that the sky was falling at one point, because there was all sorts of issues when it came to certain individuals not showing up. So it was supposed to be 26 robots originally, and they ended up having a field of, if I remember correctly, we were down to like 18 or 20. I'd have to double check. They had started up the tournament bracket with the intent of being ready to go from the day before. Certain people didn't show up. They had to then account for it, reshuffle the tournament itself and what the bracket looked like. And then they missed a couple that weren't actually in attendance. They thought they were there. They didn't realize that they had to reshuffle multiple times to account for fights that weren't actually able to happen. And unfortunately, that messed with the original idea of how things were going to work. So they all ended up running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And I get it. It's hard to deal with the first time. You have certain anticipation of how things are going to go. But I think they dealt with it really well. Let's dive into it here when it comes to the fights. So the first one up is Horns of Jericho, which is Evans, versus Professor Sparkelbutt. Keep away from the pit. Force them. Whoa! Beauty.
Alright.
You got to tap out.
Yep.
So after that fight, the next one that came up was another one for Evan. So I had a bye for the first bracket, and we went straight into another fight for Evan. Evan really didn't have much damage after that first fight, so we dove straight into this next fight, which is Horns of Jericho versus Cookie Cutter, and a gentleman by the name of Eric, ironically, and from Team Dead Batteries Robotics, was driving this one. So let's check it out.
Oh! Oh, they both took some major damage in that first exchange, so... I don't know, I think your blade fed itself into its chassis. I wouldn't do that.
Oh no, that's a bad idea.
I wouldn't probably do that. Alright, 30 seconds on the tip. Alright, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 2, 1.
Let's dance.
Oh no, his wheels off.
Ah.
Can you move, Jericho? Alright, 10, 9, or do you just want to tap out? 8, 7, yeah.
Now we learned a lot from this one about Evan's design, and we'll get deeper into it. But from what you can see in the footage here, Evan took considerable damage, and in fact, the damage that was dealt by Evan to the Cookie Cutter was considerable as well. I was very pleased, even though Evan lost this fight, I was very pleased with the performance of Horns of Jericho. But again, we learned a lot about the design that time. The next fight was my first chance to get into the arena, so Cowboy Beat Boop finally got a chance to see action against Lil Twisty, driven by Rich of Team Superbad Robotics. And we'll just dive straight in, and then I'll talk about my experience with Rich a little after. So as you can tell after that fight, I wasn't exactly disheartened, but it was a tough fight, and I learned a lot about my robot that I didn't think was going to be an issue. As you can see from the damage footage, there's a lot of torn up parts, and I actually had to swap to my second robot chassis, my second full build at that point. Also, you can see right here that my weapon bar was bent. and that was a complete shock to me. So after that, Evan had his third fight versus Aardvark. So Horns of Jericho versus Aardvark. This was driven by a young lady named Ava. The team didn't actually have a name because it was a family team. Pretty straightforward. I feel like it should be the Coop Family Robotics. This young lady drove her robot very well, and though she has a lot to learn, I love to see young drivers and builders at events like this. It's the only way our sport's going to keep growing. And Ava, please keep pushing your dad to put a weapon on your robot. I heard you guys talking about that at the event, and you're right. But the more you drive, you saw how your robot did, and I'll talk about it more after the fight. So I'll dive into more about what happened with Aardvark afterwards, but it's pretty clear that the weapon from Horns of Jericho was riding too high to strike Aardvark. And Ava could have very well taken advantage of that. But the big thing with control bots is understanding how to drive the bot. And there's easy ways to learn how to practice, especially with robots with no active weapon. So my advice to Coop Family Robotics is grab a pop can, drive your robot around, start hitting that pop can, try and get it to go somewhere. We did that a lot, but your robots seem to have a lot better control than ours. And we were able to get things moving around. I feel like you guys will do 10 times better next round if you do some control practice. Because these boxes are very well suited to being able to have a control bot fight in them and win. We've seen a lot of wins. A lot of them weren't captured on film by us, unfortunately. So the next fight is Cowboy Beep Boop versus Destructo, which is TJ's bot from Team Superbad Robotics. Now you'll see a pattern here. This is two Team Superbad Robotics robots that Cowboy had to fight. And this was a matter of that reshuffling thing I was talking about. We ended up, getting put up against the same team. And again, it happens. Not a big deal. It's kind of the luck of the draw thing there. But TJ is the son of Rich, and TJ does excellent in this fight. And next week I'll break down some of the things that TJ does in this. It's absolutely amazing. So here you go. after that fight, there was a considerable break. We ended up going to lunch. I thought my tournament time was over. I thought I was going to be going up for grudge matches because that was 2 losses for me. I thought for sure I was done, so I took my time in putting my robot back together because I had 2 broken chassis at this point. I come back from lunch and see that I have a 3rd tournament fight. Again, luck of the shuffle. So I ended up going up against Trash the Dragon driven by Connor from Fluffy Robotics. Now Connor, great kid, doing awesome. Has a little bit of trouble with electrical, but he will learn the more he does this. He started narrowing it down in the middle of the event. But check out the fight versus
3,
Cowboy
2,
versus Trash the
1,
Dragon.
Fight. Boop got his weapon out. And it's down again.
Destructo and mine will be in the 2nd arena.
A friendly nudge onto the pit.
Is it working? We need to see life in the dragon.
Hit in 10 seconds. I think a count out is perhaps unnecessary here.
8,
5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
and hit. Oh, come on.
Is the box in the way?
No, the hips get stuck. Well,
It's not stuck.
arena fault. Hey!
I'm trying to get the box unstuck. There we go.
So, as you could tell, at the end of that fight, Connor's robot was immobilized, and not due to extreme damage. In fact, it was his weapon that knocked him out after a few hits from me, and who knows which was the one to jostle the connection that killed that robot. Everybody got a good laugh out of me pushing the robot in towards the ring out pit, and I must apologize to Connor. What I was trying to do there when I hit your robot with the weapon was to get either the box to drop or your robot to fire back up, because I really wanted to continue that fight. I thought it would be really cool to finally go up against a horizontal spinner, and unfortunately that didn't pan out for either one of us. But yeah, I didn't mean to do any additional damage. I don't think I really scored any significant damage to your chassis, and I apologize if I did. Next fight up is Horns of Jericho versus Pronghorn V6. And Pronghorn V6 is, and you'll have to forgive me, Lucas. Lucas is the driver, and I can't remember how to pronounce his team name. Leucosopia, I think is how he pronounced it. I'll put his channel in the description of the video, and I believe it's Robot Fight Club. I'll pop it up on screen right here because I know I'll probably have gotten that wrong. Lucas builds really interesting robots. He had this robot, which is a full-on walker, and he also had a ferry weight gyro walker, which unfortunately I didn't get any video of. But if you check out his channel, I'm sure he has some videos on it. It's really awesome how he was able to make that work. So let's check out the fight of Horns of Jericho versus Pronghorn V6.
Power. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. He's jamming you. Get out of there.
Can someone come operate the pit? Your left motor, Dad? I was afraid of it.
And the judge said, especially waiting towards the end of the match, the control and aggression by Pronghorn will win it.
Now, out of all the fights that we had, either me or Evan, that was by far the most technical fight. I was very impressed with both Evan's and Lucas's capabilities there. Lucas had immense control over that bot, and Evan showed significant promise, but next week I'll break down some of the things where he went wrong, both build and driving wise there, and some of the things we're going to focus on. Next up is my last fight, and that tells you a little bit of how it went, against another Team Superbad Robotics robot, again driven by Rich. This is the almighty Crixus, one of the baddest bots in this entire series. So Cowboy Beep Boop versus the almighty Crixus. Here we go.
Eric, get that weapon spun up. Unstick.
Yep. You got a broom? Let's use the broom.
My drunk Donnie don't got nothing going.
Yeah, they got
Sorry about that.
Got a broom here. Oh, you got it? All right.
He signed the waiver.
Has any control motion here?
Are we resuming?
Yeah, let's go.
He's moving.
Go.
Okay.
Now, I've thought for sure I had him in like the first 20 to 30 seconds. I was doing really well. I was avoiding his weapon, but as you could tell, didn't quite work out in my favor, unfortunately. The next fight that we have is a grudge match. Now, this is Evan and I facing off for the first time without our practice weapons on. This is the real deal. Evan and I had never faced off for real before, and we'll let you take bets on who you think won that one. But let's dive straight into it for Cowboy Beep Boop versus Horns of Jericho.
Both spun out.
Oh!
Can you tombstone it?
I'm ripping into my own tire.
9, 8.
I don't know about you, but that about went how I thought it would. To be fair, Evan had control issues from the very beginning. He had a motor switch polarity on him, on his setup, so he was kind of disadvantaged. But yeah, I was both super happy about that and won't allow him to have a rematch. All right, so that was the end of Iowa Robot Fighting's involvement in the tournament itself. We ended up doing a rumble, which I didn't end up capturing, but I'm pretty positive the Minnesota group themselves captured that one. So if they put that up, I'll put that in the description in this video. The remaining fights are all of the top competitors and eventually the winners of the overall tournament. In the lower left-hand corner, I have the names of the robots, the names of the drivers, and their teams. So I'm going to play those in quick succession for you guys. You all enjoy, and I'm just going to let these run out to the end of the video. So I will catch you all next week. Enjoy the remaining fights in this video, and I'll catch you again for the review. Everyone have a great day. I'll see you next time.
All right, ready to go in 3, 2, 1, battle! Is Cookie Cutter alive? We have no. Wow. The winner by KO is Tombstone. Who's timing? Is the timer ready?
I'm
Are the
ready.
drivers ready? Ready. 3, 2, 1, battle! Oh, Twisty with the box out. Oh! Oh! That bell has sheared off as well, Twisty. Jesus, doing special dance. Oh!
Just need to survive.
Jesus!
Keep him
No
pinned.
mercy here.
Keep him pinned.
But little Twisty, that chassis on little Twisty looks destroyed. Oh my god. I'm coming down the laser board.
Pit opens in 10, 9, 8, 7,
Oh
6,
Come on, survive.
5,
No.
Oh no! Move!
Controlled movement, Twisty. Are you kidding me?
There you go.
Wow. 3, 2, 1, battle!
Oh!
The fork just
It's not going.
You're not getting it.
wow. Oh man.
Give him a love tap.
Throw him across the arena. All right. He'll take a second match. He'll take a second.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, battle!
Oh! Oh!
Come on, do the thing.
Oh!
Match is over. Pit's open.
It's open.
Oh. I thought we have controlled movement.
Depends how you define control. Moving out.
We need a 10-second countdown here. 9, 8, 7, 6.
Oh, there we go. Judge's decision. Nobody knows.
DCS. Wow.
But I would like to congratulate Destructo on an amazing game. Wow.
And this is why we don't have a kid.
Everybody, what a